G'day punters, welcome to Victims of the Punt, the review part of our Sydney show, jumping into what was a really big card there at Randwick, but just going through some of the data, it's produced some very polarising results. We'll start with you, Mark Shean. The track obviously played reasonably, I wouldn't say one-sided, but there were certainly a few races that played very one-sided.
Yeah, a couple of races, Volpine's race, they hardly changed positions. Wild Ruler got a good run in the first. We saw some interesting two-year-old races. Probably the Colts and Geldings are much superior to the fillies division. And Sabatiano winning the Canterbury Stakes, she was probably a moral beat in the race last year, and she atoned this year with a narrow win.
Yes, exactly right. Mark Rhoden, how did you see the day overall?
It was a great day's racing. There are a couple of hard luck stories there, some huge performances. I personally started well with Anamoe in the 2-year-old, but just needed one more to push me over the line, but couldn't get it, unfortunately. A couple of close calls, but it was a good day's racing, and sure to be a good form reference too.
Yeah, exactly right. Rob, I'm really keen to see what you think of some of these horses out of the yard, but overall, your day?
Oh, look, I had enough chances. I had two winners on top, but we've had a losing day. I should have listened to Uncle Chris. Go with your gut. Go with your gut.
All right. We'll start with race one. We'll go through the entire card because it was just such a good day's racing. Race one for the class, they've gone slow, 3 lengths slow on Punting Form's data to the 600. Wild Ruler. Rob, I know you're pretty taken with this galloper just out of the yard.
Yeah, look, I remember being on destination first up against Wild Ruler last time in, and I was happy to take him on that day. He looked a bit too forward, a little bit sweaty, but he's really burnished, to use a breeder's word, and he walked around beautifully. I think I called Rhoden, I said, this might be a $10 million colt. After the race, it might be a $20 million colt. It's looks to have it all in front of it this time in. On the lead, caught my eye again. Andermatt looked like it had trained on. I'll leave Mark Shean talk about Doutland and Mammoregan.
All right, Mark Shean, take it away.
Yeah, agree with Rob. Wild Rule is certainly parading a lot better than he has in past preparations, where he used to get a little bit fizzy and sweaty, but he looked much better on Saturday and absolutely brained them. I thought Andermatt had trained them beautifully and was disappointing in the run. And the rest of them, not much job. On the lead ran well. He always looked well, and probably the dry track suited him. The others, I don't know where they go with Doutland. He got a long way back, made up some ground late, but it was certainly run to suit him, I thought.
Yep. Mark Rhoden, this platform for Wild Ruler, comparable with previous preparations?
Yeah, I think his actual performance on Saturday, I think, is almost directly comparable to his win in the Roman Consul, where he beat on the lead by about the same margin, I think. He's the one on the upside. He's the only horse in the race that's really going anywhere, I think. On the lead, he'd be like an honest Saturday horse if he wasn't racing all those group races. And he appears to be the second best of them. All these other ones, Tommy Gold and Andermatt half shelved himself. I was disappointed. I thought he'd get a lot closer to Wild Rule than he did. There was no excuse for him not to get closer. But Wild Rule, the only one going places, I would suggest.
One more comment on just tipping. The winner Wild Rule, $1.70 when they were walking around $1.80. By the time they jumped, it's $2. And what do you do?
That last 5 minutes on Betfair is pretty wild, isn't it?
It's a moment.
$2, it might be push 5 units.
We can find to a moment in time, Rob.
Bloody J-Mac in those colours. It just didn't fill me with. I didn't feel totally happy about $1.80, not $1.90 push. Then J-Mac in the next. Let's talk about that.
I was just going to say, speaking of J-Mac in the next, in the Todman, the Group 2 for the Colts and Geldings, the 2-year-olds, they've gone even for the class, basically bang on even, 0.2 lengths slow to the 600. Anamoe coming up from Victoria, where it was completely without luck. Profiteer was trying to lead the whole way, and then obviously stay inside. I'll let you guys discuss that. But Rob, run us through these colts.
It's just so frustrating because I'll never know with stay inside. He was always had map issues, but the horse hasn't paraded better this time in. So I was happy to unload here, and I had a little saver on Home Affair, who've been on each start. He kind of seems to have gone to another level. Anamoe was the one I had fourth. I just thought maybe a little bit soft, can improve, and maybe has the most improvement. I think it's interesting. I think Lizzie, bless her, she was tipping Towie horses all day, which I found interesting. She was on this remark. He still needs to settle down. But yeah, look, I think the winner can improve a lot, and I don't want to drop off, stay inside, and I'd love to just see J-Mac roll to the outside, and I could at least get done by a neck, and instead of just being crashing into Bossy up the straight. It was just disgusting. Just
quickly on Anamoe, what did you think of it as a type?
I think it's got a lovely walk. It's classy. It's kind of a little bit leggy, which I don't always like as the 2-year-olds, but the top ones can be. I think it'll make a 3-year-old as well. Whereas Profiteer, maybe a bit like its sire, might struggle, even though he's only medium size. And I think Home Affairs is going to make a 3-year-old as well.
Yep. Mark Shean, plenty going on this race, but take it away with Stay Inside.
Yeah, well, I didn't hear the change of tactics at the races, actually, that they were going to ride with cover, and, they certainly found cover 7 or 8 lengths off the lead. So, I don't know if he went any good or not, but
yeah,
he just ran up backsides at the top of the straight. In fact, I think his ride on Trifascia in the race after was even worse. But look, Stay Inside, if he draws a better alley, look, we knew that the alley was the issue. But I still thought he'd overcome it. But I didn't think he'd be last. And if he jumps away in the slipper, if he's drawn a better marble, he could have been 3rd or 4th on the fence. So still a lot to play out. Slipper-wise, Profiteer, well, he was very fresh and over-raced badly. He'll get the advantage of going to Rose Hill round the circle, which would probably suit him a lot better, I think. And Anamoe, well, got perfect run in transit here and through the field in a small field. He'll probably be spotting them a bigger start in the slipper. So that's maybe a worry for him. But, I've had a spec on him at 25s before the Blue Diamond, so at least I've got something running there.
Yep, indeed. Mark Rhoden, you had a result there on Anamoe, as you pointed to. It did probably look like the one day you could get some cash out of this horse. Yeah,
very keen on that Blue Diamond form in general. So I thought... he was back. He was about $17 when we were talking on Thursday. Yep. He did tighten up to SP9, I think. So quite a few people found him, and fortunately got the head down on the line for me. I want to Stay Inside. Obviously covered. I was on him as well. Awful to watch. Home Affairs is an interesting horse. Rob's been in love with him from day one. He's taken a step forward on my figures 3 times in a row now. From debut to second start to third start, which is not many of them do that. While he hasn't shown any dominance over anything yet, he's just kept going forward. And grand final those 2 weeks away, maybe. I mean, I couldn't back Profiteer's favourite now. Couldn't back him the way he just doesn't settle. He's his own worst enemy. I think, despite being suited by Rose Hill, I think he'll get tired late again. Something will beat him. Rob was suggesting that Stay Inside didn't have anywhere to go, looks wise, improvement wise. So.
He could maintain. He could maintain what he. But Mark Shean, he hasn't paraded better than that this time in, has he?
No, he didn't. But he didn't get the old fella out, which has been assistant so far. So.
It's a bit like Sacramento sweating up. These are good signs.
But I'm just suggesting it could be there to be won, the slipper, and maybe Home Affairs is in it.
Oh, wouldn't it be great for Cornwall?
Oh yeah.
Let's not get
I suppose in Home Affairs defences, that's the first time that they've actually ridden him with cover. He's been sort of exposed both runs.
Yeah.
So
I mean, he'd need to go. He'd need to go better than that to win. But he's just.
But he was tight on the inside there. I wouldn't be even surprised if he ran the slipper that they put like winkers or blinkers on him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Waller's got him ticking along beautifully.
Good result there for Uncle Chris, potentially. Race 3, the Reisling for the fillies. Mark Shean commented on earlier that they don't seem to have the edge, and that's certainly what the punting form data suggests. They only went slowly for the class, but 2.5 lengths slow to the 600, so not horrendously slow by any stretch. And obviously Glistening was able to control this event. Rob, run us through a few of the fillies here.
I found Matthew Dale, Alicia Collett, Pretty Woman. I'll never know if that was up to it, but it looked like a sort of masculine style of filly. Coat looked great. Had a good look at this Start or whatever, the 12. It looks like a 3-year-old. I'm not sure if they if they're going to progress with that horse. It's kind of a leggy type. It looked pretty close to top, so I'll be putting it out. A Swift Witness, professional. Really strong masculine type of filly. So she was in the numbers and would have been a chop out for me if she got up. But I got my teeth kicked in by the 2-year-olds. Over invested after a successful 6 weeks on them. So I was stinging after this race. I don't think there's much here. Like Shean.
Yeah, look, I think in hindsight, this winner was overs compared to Pretty Woman. Like, Pretty Woman was hard in the market at 4s of 9-2, and Glistening did hand up to it at Canberra, and then sort of held its ground up the straight. Really, if you did a market on it, it should have been around $10. I fluked having something on it at long odds early. I was going to back it again and missed out. It was off the map then, so... But I think Trifascia, with any luck, is certainly the one to follow out of the race. This has done a few things wrong on debut. Got a long way back here. And this is another one where they're tailed off 2 lengths and they're still running up arses up the straight looking for runs. Like, it's madness.
Oh, dear. Mark Rhoden, are you making a case for any of these 2-year-old fillies at this stage?
What, in the Golden Slipper?
Oh, just in general.
Not really. No, they're well below the Colts, as you said. Pretty Woman's a total forgive run. Never got a crack at them. No, not a whole lot to say about this race, to be honest.
Yeah, it does look a bit like that. Certainly on the raw figures. We'll go to race 4, the Randwick City Stakes over 2,000 metres. Mount Popper produced. Was just in a perfect spot throughout. In terms of the speed, they've gone even, 0.3 lengths faster to 600. So. Just managed to get over top of Sacramento. Rob, you alluded to Sacramento's parade before. Just run us through what it did last start and the start before versus on Saturday.
Well, look, he's always had a sheen to his coat, and a good healthy glow, but he's always got really hot. Like normally, if you didn't know the horse, you'd just think he couldn't win. Saturday, he just walked around like a wait for age horse, and sometimes it can be a bit toey too. But Saturday, he just sort of relaxed. His coat was absolutely glowing, and this has never been a horse. Mount Popper made me want to bet. It was toey again. Looked like it held its condition, but I'm just ruling that if Sacramento was half slow away on that turning 2,000 metres, it's got beaten a length. It jumps half a length in front, it wins. But I had that sinking feeling. This hasn't been my horse. I've been against it. It's won 4 in a row, and then I'm jumping on here at the decent play at 5-2 or something. So it was horrible. Paths of Glory can improve. Lord Mayor paraded well. Just the import collide looked pretty forward to me. Yep. But yeah, I think Paths of Glory. I don't know what to do with Mount Popper much.
Yeah, well, he's not a real robust type, is he? We mentioned that after his first up run there, and he had 4 weeks between runs, which is, I'm not sure if that was by design or what, but look, he got into a good spot here, travelled well. I did fall into Sacramento off the yard. I've been on him a couple of times this time, and he certainly paraded a lot better than when he won. Maybe he went a little bit faster than he has at his last couple of starts. That's the only thing I can put it down to. But Mount Popper just had the superior sprint and was too good for him on the day.
Yeah, Mark Rhoden, what are you thinking about this Mount Popper? It's obviously produced some pretty decent figures so far, but what sort of ceiling do you think it has?
I don't know. He probably does have another level in him. He pretty lightly raced. I was very taken with his win last preparation when he got to 2,000 for the first time. I think second up. Just sort of fell into place for him a bit on Saturday. I just thought Clipperton maybe went 200 metres too soon. I mean, it was the right sort of play to gradually up the tempo, but he probably could have waited another furlong, I think, and that probably played into the winner's hands a bit, I think. But yeah, he's a nice horse. He's not. Well, I don't know how good he is, to be honest. He's the sort of ratings he's putting at the moment put him in, certainly Group 2, Group 3 handicap level, and if he improves again, he's wait for age.
Okay. All right, race 5. Certainly, when you had a quick look at the punting form data, this race stands out like a sore thumb. The Challenge Stakes over 1,000 Group 2, Eduardo Nature Stirp, 2-horse war, outstanding to watch. Eduardo's got his head down, bless you, Rob Scurry. They've gone fast for the class, 4.7 lengths fast to the 600, but then they've continued to accelerate from there, and they've produced just a monster figure overall. We'll touch on that in a second, but first, Rob, run us through the top fancies here.
I thought Nature Stirp looked well, relaxed, but it's just, I've seen him parade with a bit more of a shine to his coat and a bit more of, a muscle definition. But, happy enough to put him second in the numbers. Eduardo looked great, and one of the Joe Pride's boys, Maxi, he shouted out, he told me to have another look at him. And cheers, Maxi. He just looked like he was a bit bigger than we were on him first up at Rose Hill when he won, and he just had a bit more condition in him, and at that sort of $9-10 I was kind of looking for something to bet. Written Beauty again was toey in the parade. I think I said to Mark Rhoden it could improve between 1 and 10 lengths, and to my eye it improved 1. Again, Liz sent it out on top as a really toey parader, which I think is interesting. I really like the Prater Splintex. I think I had him third in the numbers. That's about it. Nature Stirp can certainly improve. He's on track for wherever he's going. Eduardo, what a great horse, track record holder.
Yeah, indeed. Mark Shean, your thoughts on the challenge?
Well, I thought this was a great ride from Nashua Willa. When Nature Stirp went, just coming to the turn, he didn't go with him. He waited until they got over the rise, and he just saved up that little bit to have left at the finish, and I think the ride won the race. Had he tried to burn with Nature Stirp right around the corner, I think Nature Stirp probably holds him off.
Yep, I think that's fair. What are you doing going forward, though, if these two collide next start, Mark Shean? Are you leaning one way or the other?
Well, look, Nature Stirp, if he draws the inside, probably holds him off and wins, but he hasn't been one of mine in Sydney, and we'll just have to assess on the day where he draws and what the track conditions are. He probably likes it a little bit softer than the dead 4 on Saturday, 55.02. Zephyr Bay held the track record at Randwick 56.2 for 30 years. It wouldn't win a highway now. How could it be a dead 4? Seriously.
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
It's mind-boggling. The tree huggers have just taken over the world.
Boots in. We'll put a boots in.
Mark Rhoden, that's basically what the data was suggesting, isn't it? I mean, this figure's enormous skip for a good 4.
Just on the track, I treat the shoot and circle separately, and there was a bit of a southerly, so that makes the shoot go a bit quicker. But even the circle I had going 13% ahead of standard, and that is a good 3, if not firm, for Randwick. So anyway, poor old Nature Stirp, really. I mean, he hasn't done anything wrong here, has he? He's beaten at odds on or evens or whatever. Incredible. That's the best run of Eduardo's career by lengths and lengths. So if they're meeting again, I'm on Nature Stirp, especially if I'm getting my $3 benchmark, which I think I will. Looked at the TJ Smith betting. He's $6 favourite. I'd certainly back him in a TJ. I know there's a bit of water to go under the bridge yet, but I'd certainly back him in a TJ at that price the way he's going. But yeah, great ride by Nash waiting, but I didn't think Eduardo had that level of performance in him, and to be running 55 seconds for 1,000 metres, I didn't think he could run that fast. And he's just pulled it out. I would expect him to take a backward step off that. That should half knock him out. That is absolute red zone for Eduardo, sure.
Yep, I'd tend to agree. But it does look like Nature Stirp's returned in better fashion, running comparable figures to last prep, but obviously off the similar tempo or off a stronger tempo, he's finishing off better, and I think that provides him with a really good platform to whatever he goes to next.
Although everyone's, he's enigmatic, as they say, he's got stacks and stacks of high figures in his CV. So, he's a horse that you can trust to perform that level at least one time in 3.
Look, he was certainly vulnerable on Saturday from the draw, wasn't he? There was a lot of speed underneath him, and that's what he doing. Yeah.
What about the go on Written Beauty, though?
That was incredible. It was 11-2 into 2s at one stage, from when betting open. Amazing.
So what price it'll be next start, and where does that go? It's an interesting run.
Were they perhaps just getting a little bit excited after Marbusha won at Flemington? Not sure.
They did scratch Boucher against Wild Ruler. Maybe Wild Ruler versus Written Beauty in the Galaxy would be, nice.
All right. Watch this space. The Wenona girl, 1,200 metres, race 6, Group 3 for the mares. Volpine defeated Seasons off a slow tempo, 3.6 lengths slow on the Punting Form data to the 600. Rob Scurry, another leader here, but how did they look?
All pretty well. Positive piece, quickly I didn't like. I needed my head read here. I should have been, I called up Mark and I said, I think I'm going to back Andrew Atkins and Jay forward. I'm probably not going to get much, encouragement for you. But yeah, look, Seasons was in the numbers, paraded well, generals, and I don't know what to do with this stolen Jade. It looked big and strong, and it's been pretty average here. Maybe the track's too hard for it or something. But Volpine, Mark Rhoden said, I don't know what we can do with her this time in. She's about 8th up. Want to talk about Volpine, Mark Rhoden?
Yeah. Well, I mentioned it to you, didn't I?
Yeah. No, you did it on the show.
Oh, I mentioned it on the show. Yeah, I know. And I wanted a good price to back it, and it sort of went 17 into 12 while I was thinking about it, just before the race. And it ended up getting back out, and I've just totally stuffed it up and not backed it. So, yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
I'm looking at $20.
Mark Shean, what are you doing with this race?
Yeah, well, I think, it was a bit of a nothing race. Volpine just controlled it in front. I remember backing this on the Kensington first up, and I thought it looked light there. I think Brad Widdop has done an outstanding job with this mare. She's actually built up and got better, even though she's had a lot of racing. She's absolutely flying. He's done a great job with her. I thought, Fiesta and Generals were both forgive runs. Fiesta just dragged back to last, and the way the track was playing by then and the way the race panned out, certainly had no hope. So, yeah, I got some question marks on the race going forward.
All right, speaking of question marks, is race 7, the Randwick Guineas, the Group 1 over the mile. They've gone very fast for the class, 5.5 or just over 5 lengths fast to the 600. I'm sure there will be plenty of runs to be looking at here, in particular that of Mwanga. But Lions Roar was the victor for O'Shea and of Dulla. Rob, run us through the Guineas field.
Look, this is, I broke the number 1 rule of mailbag, don't force it. I thought the favourite, the Kiwi, was just a little bit more relaxed in the yard, looked like he hadn't taken any harm from his run before, and I thought, well, he's probably going to be too good. Had a good look at Harmony Rose. I think I said in the text, this might be the Oaks filly. Lions Roar, I've never been able to catch. Recall Mark Shean backing it one day in a Group 1, ran second. He can probably, you can remind us. But what to do with these horses? That's bloody Peltzer, didn't do anything. Mwanga finally got a look at it. Looked trained really well, but not my type in this. I'm always going to be taking on that kind of athletic horse. Hopefully it could turn out to be the best horse in the race, just with a bit more time. But not much else I can say. Eleanor looked a bit underdone, probably on track for the Derby or something. But yeah, I don't really want to talk about this 3 odds much.
Okay.
Makes me feel sick.
Mark Shean, help us out. What are we doing with the Randwick Guineas?
Yeah, well, another different winner going into the 3 odd races. They just seem to take turns. Nothing seems to stamp itself as the outstanding. As we said on Thursday, Agon, first time 2-week backup, drier track, didn't get as good a run as he did at Rose Hill. I'm not sure if it was an excuse that he was 3 and 4 wide. He just looked a bit flat there. He's not a very big, imposing type, as I said, after his last run. So I'm not sure where they go with him. They've got to try and freshen him up and decide where to go. Maybe he goes Doncaster with no weight, but other 3-year-olds good enough. Normally it's a great race for 3-year-olds, but they're not a classic bunch, you wouldn't think. Thought the winner still looked like he needed a run, so he's done a good job. But I think everyone was thinking that you had to be on speed there early on, and then they went berserk in this race, so it might have put it on for him a little bit. Mwanga, just got in an awful spot, and then Tommy's dropped the rein when he's got out as well, so you could arguably say he should have won the race.
Yeah, it was a tough watch, Mark Rhoden, wasn't it? You've backed Moonga and Harmony Rose off the top of my head.
Yeah, that's right. Harmony Rose had to do just a little bit more work than I'd hoped. There was a stronger speed. There were actually speed in numbers too. A few horses I didn't expect to be right up there were, and Harmony Rose was 3 wide for a bit, had to work to get across. Moonga, if he gets to the outside 100 metres earlier, I think he wins. But it just... I'd sort of written him off in the straight because he was just in such a bad spot. It was a great effort to get as close as he did. I mentioned Lions Roar after his last start on the review show. It was one to follow, but I was waiting for 2,000 and he's got up on me at 33s or something here without me, unfortunately. Very unfortunate. Egon was just flat as attack. He took the length of the straight to get past bloody Prime Star. So, the jury's right out on him. I don't know what to do with him. And as everyone says, just a pretty plain punch of allegedly top class 3-year-olds.
Yeah, it was one of those great races as well where Lions Roar started significantly shorter on the Betfair SP versus the overall tote.
Is that right?
Love it when that happens. Race 8, Canterbury Stakes over 1,300. The Group 1, Savatiano on speed on an even tempo, 1.2 lengths fast for the class and Punting Form's data. Held off Mizzy at any price. Rob, run us through.
They all look well, as you might expect with this sort of, class of race, this distance. Madame Rouge, I might have been, hoping here more than knowing. I think Mark Shean said the other day it would run where it did. I thought an each way play looked like it improved from its run the other day. Mizzy looked great. Big burly thing that she is, but it's Mizzy. It's Anthony Cummings. You can't put that in the numbers this time because all of them look good, but she really looked good. Where does she go? She's Sam Madowd, come back, look great. I was going to say looking great. Bivouac, you look perfect as well. He had no luck in the run. Mask Crusader trained on a little bit. He's such a smooth walker. He's a proper panther. Savatiano, probably richly deserved. She's a consistent mare on pace pattern. Not sure who I can follow out of the race too much, but probably Madame Rouge back to mare's grade. Bivouac, forgive.
Mark Shean, who are you following out of this race?
Well, I think Masked Crusader was an eye-catching run to me. I think the way he's racing at the moment would suggest that he's looking for probably a mile now, or at least 1,500. So I think he might go Ryder Doncaster, perhaps. Like the way he knuckled down, did miss the start, which can be a concern with him, but he just looked to get run off his legs here when they went so fast early. And like the way he finished off, Bivouac did quite a few things wrong. And got into an awful spot. I think if you're on it, you're out of you're dead set 6 foot under after about a furlong.
Mark Rhoden, Masked Crusader was probably the one that's produced the most consistent performance going over the last 600 or so.
Yeah, I think even though he didn't win, he sort of announced his arrival at Group 1 and at weight for age level, and I think he's got more to come. He belongs at this level. For sure. Those who backed Bivouac, I was among them. I was filthy on myself. I shouldn't have. I didn't like Barrier 8 for him. I just thought best horse in the race, and there he's out to better than 2-1. Gave myself a bit of a talking to, sort of Seymour Hoffman and Boogie Nights, calling himself an idiot in the car over and over. Gave myself a very poor mark for my performance. It was awful. Savatiano was the one that mapped well, and the one that was very solid in the market. The market obviously loved the map for her, and she got the job done for her.
Well, just got the job done over a million shot, but the million shot got there in the end in the last very slow tempo race, 5.2 lengths slow to the 600, over 1,600 for the fillies and mares. Missy Beale knocked off She's Ideal and Rocket Clock. Rob Scurry, could you make a case for Missy Beale at all?
No, it's just got too much taints of Wednesday at Canterbury, that horse, it's she looked well, like a lot of bakers do, but it's hard to put her in the numbers at that price. I often do, but, maybe a bit punch drunk by this stage. So, I didn't mind the toppy. My horse was out of play, a bit like Bivouac in the first, couple of 100 metres. It was a million wide, called Cliff's Art. Rocker Clock looked like it had trained on, at top. But yeah, look, I don't know what I think Natoya's finish. Don't leave me out of Girl Tuesday. Yeah, some funny mares like La Lude. She was a Wednesday horse a little while ago. I don't know what these are.
Yep. Yeah, very slow tempo can throw up that. Mark Shean, anything out of the 1,000,000 to 1 quaddie?
No, well, Missy Bill did miss the start last time out, but she jumped a lot better on Saturday and she's able to get in a controlling position, so they just walked in the race. She's ideal. I thought in the run she was close enough, 3 wide with cover there to win, but another flashing run and just not quite getting the job done. So, we were halfway down the stairs already as they were pulling up, shaking their head how Missy Beale has held on to win there. Anyway, she's ideal going up in distance maybe, but yeah, it was a bit of a nothing race. They're all over the shop there, pulled up to walk in the middle stages.
Yep, I think a nothing race is a good way of describing it. Mark Rhoden, have you got anything out of the last for us?
No, just a heartbreaker. In Mark's camp there, I was on She's Ideal as well, and just how on earth did Missy Beale keep going? J Ford, Missy Beale.
Time on
She dead set puts in her best about 1 time in 15, Missy Beale, and she's decided to do it on Saturday. So, good on her.
Well, the thing is, you look at the race and you say, there's no speed here. What a lead. Oh, Missy Beale lead of it jumps, but you still can't make yourself back it.
No, exactly. Yeah, no way. Yeah. I expect a couple of rappies in the race too, but no, not a...
All right. Well, that brings us to the end. We'll pick out a couple of horses to follow. Mark Shean, I'll start with yourself.
Race 3, Trifascia. I know the fillies are a pretty bad bunch, but I think once this gets to 1,1600 metres, I hope they head to the Bailey with her, and then she'll be maybe onto a race like the Champagne or something. I don't know if she'll measure up to the real top ones, but she's going to improve once she gets over ground. She's a very nice type of filly who's got my money twice now. So, and I think Mars Crusader in race number 8 was a really good run as well.
All right, Mark Rhoden, you're in the middle of a very busy 10 days of punting or whatever it is. Have you got a couple to follow from this meeting?
Yeah, back down a few. Home Affairs, interesting runner in the slipper. Pretty Woman, Total Forgive, having a look at her. Nature Stirp Flying, gets you $3 and load the cannons. And Masked Crusader, yes, belongs at this level now.
All right, very good. And Rob Scurry, a couple to follow out of the yard.
Wild Ruler, they're probably going to go in the same race, but I've got a big watch. I can only think he's going to run well wherever he goes, Wild Ruler. And as I said, Britain Beauty can improve somewhere between 2 and 10 lengths if she just walks and trims up a little bit. So they're probably my 2.
Okay, the week ahead, obviously it's the Canberra Guineas and the Canberra Cup today, but then we've got Wyong tomorrow, Kensington Wednesday.
Big meeting at Kembla on Friday.
Yeah, Friday, Kembla, and then Saturday, the Gosford and Rosehill meeting with the Group 1 Coolmore. Mark Shean, there's plenty going on.
Yeah, no, we're off to Rosehill for that part of the carnival. Unfortunately, got rain forecast for Wednesday and Thursday, so fingers crossed we don't get too much.
Yep. Mark Rhoden, how are you coping with the workload at the moment?
Yeah, surviving. Would have been easy to cope with if way up in the sky had stuck its head out at $7 in the 1,000 metre race yesterday, but we battle on. We're fronting up again at Canberra today. And yeah, it just rolls on, Wyong tomorrow, etc., etc.
Exactly right. Rob Scurry, you'll be back in the yard on Saturday, no doubt.
Yeah, definitely be at Rosehill, hoping we get some sort of track. I'm not pleased to hear that rain forecast, but, I had my chance last week, perfect track at Randwick.
Yeah, exactly. We can hope.
That's it. Go again next week. Cheers,
exactly.
Boys.
Thanks very much, guys. As always, we'll be back later in the week on Victims of the Punt to preview the Rosehill Gardens meeting. But until then, go well.